Good evening. I'm Jonathan Higgins, and welcome to the Scanner Guys. Rich has the night off, so we're going to do a great show about top Uniden features. We're going to try to cover it within about 45 minutes. We have a double feature tonight. So what we're featuring this evening is Uniden product features that you may or may not know about. And then after the show, we're going to have another Train Aficionado video blog, or a vlog as it's called, and you'll be able to watch some rail fanning in Hamilton, Ohio. So double feature tonight. I'm really excited about it. So let's get on with the show. So let's pull up that slideshow for this week. So top Uniden features, as you can see there's a whole bunch of known scanners on the screen, such as the SDS 100, the BC 125AT, the Home Patrol 2, and of course the 536, all favorites of mine. You want to make sure that you support the show by signing up for our newsletter or shopping our store. You can shop our store online at thescannerguyshow.com. That's thescannerguyshow.com. Make sure you follow, like, and subscribe to our social media as well, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at The Scanner Guys. As I mentioned at the top of the show, the Hamilton, Ohio vlog will be on right after this show. So definitely stay tuned for that. More than likely, what's going to happen if you have autoplay turned on, it's going to roll right from this show to the next show. If not, I will send you guys a link towards the tail end of the broadcast, so you can join us over on that side. And make sure while you're there, subscribe to the channel. We would very much appreciate that. It's a really cool video we just put together last weekend. It's over a course of a couple of weekends of rail fanning in Hamilton, Ohio. And we caught this heritage unit. So make sure you stay tuned to the very end to be able to see this heritage unit make its way past us. So top Uniden features this evening. So a lot of you know about Close Call. Now, Close Call is a really cool feature. It's used on just the Uniden radios. And this basically will find the strong signals nearby you. So the scanner is basically searching the whole frequency band, and it's finding that strongest signal. And when it finds the strongest signal, that frequency pops up on your scanner. Also pop up the PL tone or the DPL tone, which is really neat. So how it all works, if you can see that person, more than likely you're able to pick up a close call hit. For handheld two-way radio, probably about 250 feet. A mobile radio, you're looking at probably about a half mile. Something transmitting off of a tower, you're probably looking at several miles. So Close Call is great for being able to pick up those close frequencies. If you're looking to be able to pick up any signals in the area, we would probably recommend doing what's called a band search. So you're basically searching from one frequency to another. So let's say if you wanted to search from 155 megahertz up to 156, you would just basically program that in as a search and be able to search that frequency band. So there's several different versions of Close Call. There's Close Call Priority, which checks every 2 seconds for a strong signal. And that basically will run in the background while your scanner is scanning. Now, the thing with Close Call Priority, the audio will clip out. So you'll have to deal with that. Periodic audio clips out when somebody's transmitting on your scanner, when the scanner is, of course, in scan mode. My favorite feature of them all listed here is Close Call Do Not Disturb. So what it's doing is it's checking for close call hits when the scanner is not receiving audio from any other source while it's scanning. This eliminates the annoying breaks in conversation. Also, we have Close Call Auto Store. So the great thing about that is you can set up your scanner at your house or wherever you want to be able to pick up these close call hits, and it allows you to be able to pick up these close call hits and store them in the scanner to review at a later time, which is great. So if you want to leave your scanner on all day and see what it picks up during the day, or even at night, you can do that with close call auto store. There's also close call temporary store. This is an option that is turned on when the scanner gets a close call hit. It'll temporarily store the hit and include that frequency while scanning. So your scanner will keep scanning those particular channels. It'll basically just store those close call hits, and it'll start scanning those channels. So a couple of different options. I remember when close call came out, it was just basically close call. You ran it in the background or you ran it independently. Not a lot of times when I use close call, I run it independently. I'll go into the menu and do close call only, and then that's all the radio is focused on, being able to pick up close call hits. This is a feature that I really like, especially with analog communications. I know a lot of you are probably saying analog. There's not a lot out there. There's still quite a bit out there for analog communications. If you notice with narrow banding, the audio kind of went up and down for different agencies, depending on how they have their repeater adjusted volume-wise. Some are pretty loud, some are pretty low. This will allow you to be able to kind of adjust it all with individual channel volume offset. So if you have the fire department, it's really loud, and the police department is extremely low. What you can do to that individual channel, so you go to that fire department channel or police department channel, you can either bump it up or down to kind of get everything leveled. So it's kind of leveling the audio for those particular channels, but you're doing it manually. You'll basically go into that particular channel in your favorites list or scan list if you're on a Uniden radio, such as Clean Slate Scanner, 996, 15X, 325, any of those radios. Also, you can do it on any of the Home Patrol style radios, such as 436, 536, SDS 100 and 200. And this allows you to be able to level things off. So if you've got a police department that's really low, you can bump that up, 1, 2, or 3 plus. And then if you got a fire department extremely loud, you can bump it down, a couple of notches with the minuses, -1, -2, -3. So it allows you to kind of manually level things off, which is really neat. This feature can be found on all those radios, and I use this quite a bit, especially when monitoring analog stuff where the repeater for analog is super low. For digital, for the most part, everything comes in pretty loud. Some of those you may want to crank down just a tad bit. With these radios, with especially our advanced radios, such as the SDS 200, it's got the huge screen. And this is images of that particular screen. So you can see there that the simple display resembles a Home Patrol 1 or 2. Very large, for channel, department, and system name. So it's very much like the Home Patrol 2. So it's a simple display. If you look down at the detailed display, there's a lot of things on there. You, of course, have your system name, department, and channel name, but there's all types of other things. I'm actually going to blow this out so you guys can see. So we have spots where you can put in additional information. This is basically showing all the option lines that are available to you. Now on the SDS 100 and 200, you can actually customize these fields. So if you want certain things to appear in certain fields, you can do this with the Sentinel software. With other radios, such as 436, 536, and the T's and XT and P2 for the Clean Slate scanners, you can do switch the display modes from a simple to a detailed, but you can't customize it. And as you can see here, the function of it is pretty simple. So that you can change the amount of things on the screen on the SDS 100 and 200, but you really can't do a lot on the other radios. But here's how to do it. Basically pressing the hold button, then the function button, and then the pressing the number 6 on the T, the XT, and the P2, And then that function on the other radios, the SDSs and home patrols, is the 9 button. So definitely a cool feature to take advantage of. The displays on the SDSs are really awesome, and you really can change it and customize it in the detail mode, and you can actually customize it in the simple mode. For the most part, I think I'm running my radio in the simple mode because I want to be able to see, clearly who's communicating at a given time across the room. This is another feature that I truly enjoy and I love. And I use it quite a bit because of the railroads. I'll do what's called a search with scan. It's basically taking one of these service searches and making it so it scans all the frequencies. So many of you know that I'm a rail fan and I'll scan the railroad channels, but typically I'll scan the known ones. But if I'm in an area in which I'm not familiar with, what I will do is turn on search with scan. And what that'll allow me to do is turn on the railroad service search. So what it'll do is when this is on, it'll scan whatever's in my scanner that's turned on, plus it'll scan through that particular service search. So it'll go through all 97 railroad channels, and then go back around again and scan everything that's programmed in. And this is a great way to be able to find additional frequencies for your area. You can use this for maritime, the CB band, FRS, GMRS, military air, the civilian air band, citizen band, I should say, the regular aviation band, excuse me, ham radio, news, and public safety. You can also do this with some of your own custom search limit searches. Remember I mentioned a little earlier the 150 megahertz, I could set up a limit search from 150 to 156 megahertz. And then what the scanner will do is it'll go through all those frequencies. So search with scan can be done on the clean slate scanners. Now, clean slate is something that we use very often, that term. And what that basically means is that's a radio that you got to program from scratch. It's not a home patrol style radio. So it's like a 996, a 15, a 325, 15. Any one of those radios are clean slate scanners. And here's the list of the radios right there. I didn't realize it was on the next slide, but there they are right there. This is how you can turn on search with scan, as you can see right on the screen. And of course, you can review this this slide once this recording goes up on YouTube, and kind of pause it and take a look at it and follow the instructions. So basically, it's the menu. Go to search for. It's either going to be edit, custom, or edit search, depending on what you want to do. Custom is going to be that band limit that you want to do. Service search, of course, is going to be edit service. You're going to choose the railroad, press the E button, and then press quick key, hit the E button, choose one from 99, and then you can basically set this to a a system. And then, of course, you can lock this out at any given time too. You want to hit the E button, scroll down to set lock, and make sure you have it unlocked, because it's going to default this to being locked out. And then once you've done all these steps on the screen, you'll then be able to use this as a service search in scan. Fire tone out. We've talked about this a lot lately. I mean, a lot of people love the option of being able to hear those fire calls being toned out on their scanner. And a lot of fire departments have moved over to trunking systems, but they usually have an analog channel which they use for tone outs, for these Pletron pagers. And what ends up happening is you program in that frequency into your scanner, and then you program in the proper tone out codes, and then the radio will hear it, and then the audio will break in, and you'll be able to hear the call being toned out. Now, all these tone out codes can be found on radio reference. So you can definitely find out all those things on radio reference. And there's a list, I believe, on the wiki. I know for the county that I'm in here in Ohio, there's a list of the channels and the various towns. A lot of it is regional dispatching, as many of you are familiar with. Regional dispatching is certainly the thing of the future. So being able to hear those tone outs. So if you don't want to monitor everything on your scanner and just hear, those active tone outs, and then if you hear something interesting, they'll normally announce the file ground that they're using, and they will go from there. Auto shut off. Now, many of you will probably have a scanner by your bed and you'll want to listen to it, and you'll probably fall asleep listening to the scanner. And a lot of times, you'll wake up in the middle of the night, have to shut it off, or you'll have a significant other, telling you to turn that scanner off. Now, this auto shut off is great. It's very much like the TV, where you can set it to go to sleep after a period of time. So you can set it for 5, 10, 15, 30, 45 minutes, 1, 2, 3 hours. There's a whole variation of options. And this can be found on your Home Patrol type of scanners, 536, 436, SDSs, and of course the Home Patrol 1 and 2. You just have to go into the settings and then find auto turn off. So this allows your scanner to turn off after a period of time. So let's say you're going to be up for a little bit, maybe reading or doing something in bed and listening to the scanner, and you say, well, I'll probably eventually fall asleep in an hour or so. So I'm going to set this auto turn off for about an hour or two. And that allows you to be able to do that as well. And on the Home Patrol, as you can see there, it's on the advanced menu options. Record jack. I've been using this lately. Now, the record jack is really handy on the some of these base mobile radios, such as the 15, the 15X, the 996T, XT, and P2. Now, if you're doing an online scanner feed, you can connect the scanner up to the remote, the record jack, and connect it up to a computer, and then the computer will stream out that audio. Now, the good thing about using the record jack versus the external speaker jack is the external speaker jack is, the volume is, you could hit the volume button and crank it up, and then it's over modulated over the feed. The record jack is a steady volume, so it stays at the same level at all times. So it has a constant volume separate from the onboard scanner speaker. Now, the thing about using that record jack is you can still use that scanner to listen to, because that record jack's audio is independent from the external speaker audio or the onboard speaker. So you could turn up the volume on that scanner, listen to it while you're sitting there, and then of course turn it down when you leave the room. It'll keep sending the audio to that feed on radio reference or wherever you're feeding the audio to, and it won't do anything at all. The only time that it's going to create an issue is if you power down the radio by accident. If you power down the radio by accident, the feed, of course, is going to go silent. Now, many of you probably have those Bluetooth speakers kicking around. I actually purchased a little device that's a Bluetooth transmitter. They have a whole bunch of them on Amazon. And what that allows you to do is be able to transmit a Bluetooth signal to one of those speakers. And normally they come with a little stereo jack, and you can plug it into a device. In this instance, you could plug it into your scanner on the record jack and feed that audio to a Bluetooth speaker in another room. So let's say you've got a scanner that's connected in your hobby room up to a really good antenna outside of your room, outside of your home, I should say. So you're able to hear great audio on that scanner. And then if you try using a portable in the other room or whatever radio, it doesn't work that great because it's not connected up to a rooftop antenna. So what you end up doing is get one of those Bluetooth speakers. join one of those Bluetooth speakers and then get one of those transmitters from Amazon. It's about $20 or so. So it's relatively inexpensive. And then what I'll do is it'll transmit on through Bluetooth, and you'll be able to hear that audio in the other room, which is great. So it's a really cool thing. The only thing to keep in mind, you have to make sure that you set each channel or talk group to record. If you don't do that, the Bluetooth speaker or the radio reference feed won't hear anything. Basically, it's going to send audio down that jack for things that have record turned on. So that's the only thing you have to remember when you're programming the radio. Make sure you turn on record on those channels or channels. If you want to have everything come through, make sure you turn that on. So it's definitely a good feature there. How many of you have a significant other or a relative that has a scanner, but they get into a little bit of trouble? You know, they'll press a couple buttons and they'll basically make the programming not work. If you're far away from this person, it's a long drive to be able to fix their scanner. But, you know, if you're in a close proximity, you can kind of go over there and fix their scanner and visit them for a while. But if they're far away, we have what's called on the clean slate scanners a key safe mode. So this makes this person so they can't really tinker with the radio. They can basically put the scanner in scan or hold and do some basic functionality, but they're not able to get themselves in trouble, you know, tinkering with maybe hitting a button or two and not realizing what they do. And then they're calling you up and say, hey, I don't know what I did, but, you know, it's not scanning anymore. It's not working. And then you're over the phone trying to figure out what they did. So this is a great feature to be able to toggle on and off this key safe mode. You're basically pressing the function button and then turning on the scanner. And this basically helps to prevent accidental button pushes and that will change ultimately the scanner's programming. That was some of the top Uniden features. I know there's a whole bunch more, but, you know, of course, we have abbreviated show tonight. So I wanted to make sure that I allowed some time for some questions with our audience. But yeah, those are some of our overall features. I just want to run through a couple of things, and then we'll get to your questions and comments momentarily. So we want to make sure we thank you, the Scanner Guys audience, because you make this show happen each and every time it airs by shopping our Scanner Guys merch store, which you can visit our website, scannerguyshow.com. And of course, by ordering all your scanner related products through the affiliate link down on the description of this video. And we want to give a special thanks to this week's sponsor, Scanner Master. You can always call them and talk to an actual human being right here in the United States by calling 1-800-722-6637. And of course, you can shop them online at scannermaster.com. But when you do, make sure you use that affiliate link because we get a little bit of the sale of each one of those items that you're purchasing. And it helps us to be able to keep the show going with websites and streaming services and other things that we have to pay monthly. Coming up right after the show, the premiere of the Hamilton vlog. This is a Train Aficionado brand new video that's produced by us here. Premieres right after the Scanner Guys at 8:45. It will have a countdown. The countdown is going to start at 8:44, and it will start promptly at 8:45. For those of you that saw our first premiere, you know, of course, that was the first time I've ever done one of those. So that was a learning experience. Next week, we will have a show again, Wednesday, June the 22nd, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. I haven't decided on a topic. We may have a guest host that week. As Rich is out, he's off tonight. He's still, you know, a little bit under the weather. I'm probably going to tell him to, you know, probably get some rest. And I may have a guest host for next week, which I'm excited for, since this is the second show that I've done solo. And it's kind of, you know, it's strange talking to myself and you know, for, you know, over the air here. But I'm happy that you guys are able to live chat so it doesn't feel so lonely. But yeah, so Wednesday, June the 22nd, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. make sure you tune in to the Scanner Guys. And by the way, if you got Roku or Apple TV, download the YouTube app. You can watch us right on your TV. And then the 29th, we may have something unique and different for a show coming up, a different type of show style. I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to do it or take the week off. It'll be something that I can do with you guys, and you just have to sign up for. So it'll be kind of like a group Zoom call or something like that. I haven't decided yet, but we will have a sign up. So make sure you sign up for the Train Aficionado newsletter, because that's probably where I'm going to announce it first. And you can sign up for the Train Aficionado newsletter at trainaficionado.com. Make sure you follow, like, and subscribe to our social media as well, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at thetrainaficionado.com. And make sure you subscribe tonight when you watch, and watch on Facebook as well, because we'll probably announce it there too. Make sure you subscribe tonight when your YouTube flips you over to the premiere of the Hamilton vlog, which is a really cool video we put together. And make sure you follow, like, and subscribe to all of our social media as well, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at The Scanner Guys. All right, so let's get over to some of your questions this evening. As you can see that I'm by myself this evening. Rich is actually off. He's feeling a lot better. He just, has a little still not feeling too well. So basically I'm solo tonight, and I may have a co-host next week. It may be a good friend of ours, Dale Osborne, maybe joining the show next week. So I will be paired up more than likely with him, but we'll see what happens. We're going to have a good show anyway next week. Let me get to some of your questions. Can somebody tell me if the 536 can be put out data for the Pro 96 program? I haven't used the Pro 96 program, so I'm not 100% certain on that. Possibly. I'm not too sure if anybody commented on that, but possibly. I'm not too sure. It's a totally different beast of a radio. The 536, basically, it's not your traditional scanner, so I'm not too sure on that. But somebody in the audience may know that. So when you're doing a service search, Chris, on the CB, it's going to receive auto. I believe Joe Bearcat addressed that a couple of weeks ago. So it'll flip from analog to digital and turn that. And you can basically force the scanner. So if you programmed in some known CB channels, you can actually force the radio to selectively monitor analog or monitor FM or AM, as it's traditionally used to be as AM, but a lot of CB radios are switching to the FM mode. I'm not too sure how well that's going to be, but I guess we'll have to see. I must have misspoke. So the 396 XT or T, I may have said P2 by accident. I'm sorry about that. And how do you get better reception on a 125 AT? Well, it depends on what you're monitoring. So on the 125 AT, if you're monitoring railroads, I would recommend a VHF antenna. Same thing for if you're monitoring aircraft, get an antenna that works well for aircraft as well. So the antenna is key. So if you're monitoring one particular band with a 125 AT, get an antenna that's tuned for that band. If you're going to a NASCAR race with the 125 AT, get one of those little stocky, short antennas, or you can get a UHF antenna. That'll help as well because they're transmitting all in UHF. Wideband antennas, there's several different options on top of the rubber duck antenna. So if you're looking to monitor VHF and UHF, there's so many different antennas that you can select from. So I would definitely decide on what you're monitoring and then find the best antenna that'll work. Let's see. Can the Uniden BCT15 support more than one set of alert tones on a frequency is a time. I have it on. Yeah. Okay. Um, trying to think with a 15x. I know you can on your 536 because I've done it over here. That is awesome. So it's able to look at multiple tone outs. But I'm not too sure on that. You know, I know on the 15x it has some limitations, but on the 15x I'm not totally sure. Okay, so that makes sense. On the slide, yes, let me put that up there. For the slide, yes. So P2, the 996. So what falls in the category is there's no 396 P2. That was replaced by the 325 P2. It just basically lists all the extensions of the particular radios. So there was actually 3 generations of radios, you know, for the 15X, also for the 996. The 396 was retired after the XT, and then the 325 P2 came out to replace the 396. There's no new scanner 396 P2. Yeah, you can do up to 10 stations, which is really awesome with the tone out feature. So if you wanted to program in multiple towns or multiple types of tone out, and the other thing with the 536 that I found is you can actually put in an alpha tag. So you can put in EMS tone out or fire tone out or all call tone out. And as I mentioned earlier with the tone out feature, you can do that. You can either search for the tone outs and discover those, or you can basically do a search on radio reference. There may be a wiki page there where you're able to search or find the tone outs, I should say. All right. Let me just see if there's any other questions. No, I don't see any other ones. But certainly, we've got a few more minutes before the live show actually happens. Actually, the live show ends, and then we go into the broadcast of the Train Aficionado blog. Let me just see. So I'm going to take a look at all the check-ins here. We've got Will checking in, Les from Canada, as always. We appreciate you checking in. Ron from Rhode Island. Let's Go Rail Fanning from PA. I'm looking forward to hopefully going out to Pennsylvania and doing some rail fanning. I've been itching to go back to Altoona to be able to do some rail fanning. Alan, it was a pleasure meeting you at the Dayton Ham Fest. And I'm looking forward to being able to meet all of you, you know, again, hopefully out there at one of these trade shows or maybe at Hamvention again next year. The patch, I love that. It's awesome. It's actually on my shelf. It's up on the top, which you really can't see there. I'm starting to collect a few of those patches where I want to put something in the wall to be able to display them all. I actually have 2 from Plymouth County, from the sheriff department there. And I would love to be able to put something on the wall with a whole bunch of patches. But so far, I only have 2 from Plymouth County and the one that you gave me, Alan. And thank you so much. That was awesome to be able to get that. It's such a cool thing. Wayne checking in. Patrick, John. I know, cooling down in Ohio. It was a warm one. I was out there cutting the grass before the show, and it was warm. I was so happy to get back in the house. Into the cool air conditioning. Whole bunch of different check-ins there. I'm just looking at everybody that's checked in so far. And it's really awesome. Yeah, I mean, totally. I've never lived, you know, like this is the first time living in Ohio for me, and to be this close was really cool. I mean, it was a little over an hour. I'm not too sure if I'll be at the Dayton Hamvention. Basically, we took over the Scanner Master booth. That's basically what we did, is we took over the Scanner Master booth, and I'm not too sure if Rich Barnett will have me back to be able to man the booth. So I know it's very expensive for him to to pay somebody to man the booth. I actually didn't get paid to man the booth. Rich and I both volunteered our time to be at the booth. Just to have an appearance there at the Dayton Hamvention. And it was just great to be able to meet you guys and talk to you guys. I've gotten a lot of show suggestions as well, and a lot of good stuff. Let me just take a look at this next question here. Why does my SDS struggle to pick up Phase 2 simulcast? It shouldn't struggle. You may be too far out of range for the system. The SDS is probably one of the most sensitive for P25 Phase 1 and Phase 2, and it works the best on simulcast. So you may want to look at your programming. Now, when you're programming the radio, typically when you create a favorites list, you want to make sure if you're using the scanner stationary, you want to remove all the sites that you're not close to, because the scanner is going to try to pick up that signal. And of course, the SDS being as sensitive as it is, it's going to try to pick it up. And of course, it's, you're not going to pick up every radio transmission because you're out of range. So definitely take a look at your programming and, make sure everything's good with your antenna connection. When I was testing the SDS, my biggest test and challenge for that radio was walking in the middle of a big box store, such as, I'm trying to think of Hobby Lobby, which is a perfect example. I walked into the Hobby Lobby location in Seekonk, Massachusetts, and the closest trunk system to me that was transmitting on digital was the Rhode Island trunk system, which was over the line. And I was able to hear crystal clear in the middle of the store, which if I took any of the other radios in there, the signal would have been not that great. Anytime a metal roof's above you, it's not good for reception. A lot of times that's going to hinder your reception. But as for the SDS 100, it shouldn't be struggling unless you're out of range of the system. Yeah, 15 miles, it depends. I mean, if that's the closest tower to you, that could be the issue. You're just out of range. With digital, it's very much like your profile screen. It's binary code. It's zeros and ones transmitting in the air. So if not all the binary code gets to your scanner, it's not going to be able to pick it all up. It's basically taking that binary code and then translating it, and you hear the audio. Not getting too geeky with it, but basically that's what it's doing. So it's all about location, location, location for simulcast. But of course, you're just far out of range. I'm sure if you go into closer, you'll pick it up great. I mean, of course, outside antenna would help, to be able to pick up that system. But if the closest tower is 15 miles away, that's probably why. It's not really the radio struggling. It's just it's too far away. Illinois, I haven't yet. I've rail fanned heavily in New England, along the Hudson River in New York, in North Carolina, and I just started rail fanning all over in Ohio. So I basically have gone a little bit into Kentucky. I've also done some rail fanning around Cincinnati, and I went up to Fonstoria, which was really cool. That rail fanning park is huge, and we just produced a video for that as well. Just checking my time now. We're about 6 minutes away from the premiere of the video, but I'm looking forward to being able to rail fan more in this area. But yeah, Illinois is definitely on my bucket list to head up there. Unfortunately, as everybody knows, the gas prices are going up and up, so it's makes it kind of harder to go further away because you're going to be spending a lot more out of pocket for the gas. But yeah, Illinois is definitely a place that I want to rail fan. I can't get over, just alone in the Cincinnati area, how much rail fanning I can do here. There's tons of great little spots, and and there's a whole bunch of different routes that are coming into Cincinnati that I can kind of rail fan as well. So I'm looking forward to doing more of that. And I'm going to be bringing videos to you guys of these rail fanning trips through Train Aficionado, through the vlog series, which is a video blog, and I'm looking forward to that. And we're planning on doing something, I think, the last Wednesday of the month. There's 5 Wednesdays this month. And I'm planning on hosting something where you can kind of interact with me. When we can have a rail fan discussion type of roundtable where I can talk to you guys and you guys can talk to me through like a Zoom type of thing. I'm going to be announcing that hopefully soon, but I'm really thinking about doing it. And it's going to be something that I'm going to try and see how well it works. Bearcat Joe, I'm not sure. Bearcat Joe, he's quite busy with things that are going on. We've asked him to come on the show, so hopefully he'll come on the show soon. I know he's planning on coming on the show whenever they announce a new product, so that'll be good. But yeah, I mean, it's just right now I don't have an ETA on that. I'm hoping that he shows up soon. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Adjusting the audio settings on the SDS. You can adjust the digital threshold down to a 7 or 8. But what I recommend doing is basically remembering what your initial settings were. Because in case you really follow it up, you want to know where you originally started. So make sure you write down the threshold where you started and then manipulate it. And then if it doesn't work, you have somewhere to go back. Because, it could make things better or worse. I mean, those settings there are there for us to kind of tinker with, but that's certainly another option to be able to do that. Oh, yeah, everybody's talking about the stores that they've tested their SDS, Target, the Target super centers, the big Target stores. We didn't have very many of those in the Northeast where it actually had the full-on groceries when I was staying up there. And then when I came down south, I went into what was called a super Target. It's huge. The same thing with super Walmarts. They're quite large. And then the equivalent of a Walmart around here, we also have Walmart, Target, and Meijer. Those are fairly decent sized stores. You bring it in there, get in the middle of the store and put that radio to the test. But yeah, I'm really excited about, this coming up. So stay right here. Let me get you guys the link and then we'll wrap up the show for this evening. And then I want you guys to join us on the Train Aficionado YouTube channel. I'm going to get that right now, Train Aficionado. I'm going to get you the link in case it doesn't take you there. And you can hop over to the premiere of our show, our second half of the show, which is the video blog for Hamilton, Ohio. And you can take a rail fanning journey with me this evening. And here's the link for that, which I'm posting right now in our chat. And there's also a live chat on there. So you'll be able to chat with me as I'm watching the show. So the link is in the live chat. So click on that in case your web browser doesn't take you there. Let me just remind you real quick, since we're right at time. Make sure you follow, like, and subscribe to our social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at The Scanner Guys. TheScannerGuysShow.com is the website. So definitely check that out. Check out our premiere, which is starting momentarily on the Train Aficionado YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe and have a great night. We will talk to you over there.